everyone and welcome back to my channel BethChatsBooks. Now today I am going to participate in the Snob book chat tag. So the irony is I am wearing my Sunday comfies. I went out for a few drinks with the family last night and so I wanted to put my big baggy comfy clothes on. So I look as least snobby as ever probably on this channel. But I love doing a tag and I like keeping up with filming videos for you guys. So obviously my last video was announcing my Q&A, which will end this week, this Thursday. And then I will be putting that up with whatever questions people have asked me. So that will be coming out. But in the meantime, everybody loves a tag video. And what I really love about this tag is it's so easy, no prep, I don't need to think about books. And I pretty much have all the answers pretty quickly when I went through the questions in my noggin. So without further ado, let's just get into the tag. I was tagged in this by Charles Heathcote, who I'll link down below, who is a fantastic booktuber and a really great booktube friend of mine. And I think I'm going to tag and just get it out of the way. I'm going to tag MCS Books, Matthew from MCS Books, Jasmine Reads and Mark Nash. If they haven't already done the tag, you're more than welcome to do it. And again, anybody else that wants to do it, go ahead and do it. I don't feel like we're a very pernickety group here on BookTube and you don't technically have to be tagged to do a tag. So, you know, go for it. So I'm going to get into the questions. So question number 1 is Adaptation Snob. Do you always read the book before you see the movie? Now, if I'm being brutally honest, I don't always get the opportunity to do so. But if I had a preference, I would always read the book first. Somehow and sometimes the books are either too big, I don't actually have a copy of that book to hand before the film comes out, or sometimes the hype gets to you when a film's been released and you watch it first. If it's kind of a book that I've not been particularly interested in, then I will watch the film, and then if I really enjoyed the film, then I'll go back and read the book. But 9 times out of 10, if I'm interested, I will always read the book first. Question number 2, format snob. You can only choose one format in which to read books for the rest of your life. What do you choose? Physical, ebook or audiobooks? Always physical. My boyfriend says I'm quite a tactile reader because I like feeling the pages, I like the smell of a book, I like floppy kind of paperbacks and having a good old touch and feel when you read a book, and I think that's an important part of the pleasure experience of reading a book as well. So for me, always a physical book is a lot more satisfying. Number 3, ship snob. Would you date or marry a non-reader? I definitely would. My current boyfriend's not a great reader. He really likes Star Wars and he reads the whole collection of Star Wars on his phone at the moment, and he does like a few comics and other things, but I wouldn't say he is a reader, and we get on very well, and I would definitely marry or date someone who's not necessarily a reader. All I would ask is that the person that I was in a long-term committed relationship with respects that reading is a really important part of my life and allows me to read and doesn't ridicule the fact that I enjoy reading. Then number 4, genre snob. You have to ditch one genre never to read again for the rest of your life. Which one do you ditch? Now, I would probably pick the genre horror because I don't particularly read a lot of horror, and I've tentatively wanted to read some horror, some Stephen King and the Silence of the Lambs books, but I know that I'm easily grossed out, especially when it comes to horror more than thriller, because with thriller, if something's dark and disturbing, I can kind of work through it because there's an overall plot, whereas horror is kind of known as a genre that just tries to shock and disgust. So I haven't actually read the horror that I've been telling myself I will read, so I feel like if that was eliminated, it will probably be a genre I don't particularly miss because it isn't one I've particularly invested in. And then number 5, uber genre snob. You can only choose to read from one genre for the rest of your life. Which genre do you choose? I would pick literary fiction purely because there are so many different literary fiction books that I think it's the most diverse of all the genres. There's not necessarily a set trope to it, or a set place, or a set theme. So I feel like literary fiction would allow me to still read quite a diverse amount of different things, whether it focuses on relationships or place or setting and things like that. Number 6, community snob. Which genre do you think receives the most snobbery from the bookish community? I think a lot of people can be quite snobby about YA, which I've heard a lot of people speak about before, which is not a genre that I love as much as other people do on BookTube, but I do appreciate that there are quite a few interesting YA novels, and I have read some YA novels and really enjoyed them. And I think that people are quite snobby about things like thrillers. I think because a lot of them can be quite tropey, people kind of think that people that read a lot of thrillers like just digesting the same plot over and over again with a different name of character, whereas I think recently the thriller genre has become really diverse and interesting and really opened up. I think a lot of people who like romance are usually ridiculed, and a lot of chick lit, things like Bridget Jones and Sophie Kinsella and things like that, I think a lot of people think that those readers are less intelligent than other readers because they like fluffy romance books, and I don't think that's the case at all. But they're definitely some of the genres I think that people do get the most stick for enjoying. And then number 7, Snobbery Recipient. Have you ever been snubbed for something that you've been reading, or for reading in general? I've never been snubbed for reading a book. Sometimes when people hear that you enjoy books, I've been snubbed quite a lot if there are perceptions of people who are not really readers of what readers should read. So for example, I've been snubbed for not reading enough classics, or someone will throw a title like War and Peace to me, or Jane Austen, and if I haven't read it they'll go, oh, but you're a reader, shouldn't you have read that? And I think that's absolute pants. You can be a reader and not necessarily enjoy classics. I do very much enjoy classics, however, but things like War and Peace are very big books, so it's not that I haven't wanted to read it, I've just not had the time to read it as such. And with other classics like Jane Austen, I'm getting there. I'm going to slowly go through classics, but I don't really need somebody else to tell me what I should be reading as a reader. I have had, in my younger years, felt very self-conscious about being a reader because that automatically made you at school, and up until university it made you quite antisocial and introverted, and there's a lot of kind of bad connotations in social settings with being a reader. Then at university I could kind of thrive because those kind of people who did an English degree with myself really were kindred spirits in the love of reading. There's not necessarily any book that I've read that people have kind of scoffed at, but that's my general experience of communications with non-readers. So that is that tag done. I really enjoyed this tag. I think there's some really interesting things. I've forgotten off the top of my head who was the original creator of the tag, but I'll link that down below so you can go and check that out. But yeah, I think it's a really fun tag, and I love doing tags, and this was just a really great tag. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with a brand new video. Bye now.